Alright, hi, welcome back to Illwinter, the short story. Well, no, Illwinter isn't my short story. My short story's called, like, Welcome to Illfell or something. But Illwinter being the name of the setting, sort of, in the short story compilation that Fruity Spruce pitched to a group of friends. A bunch of people writing some little short stories for this sort of anthology collection. And I'm doing one. I'm doing Welcome to Illfell is what I think I'm calling the story. Today, going to be doing some character development is the idea. Because we did outline last time, we did the plot outline. I have got one completed, or two maybe, two completed character documents. Take a look in a second. We'll maybe do a map as well. I might, because I've still got that picture in mind of like the location, Illfell, the little town, and Illwinter, the amusement park, what it will look like. So we might do like a really crude illustration of that. But really I want to focus on character today. And also I've changed my processing a little bit. I need to prep the screen. Alright. Let's just go. So this is my prose directory in you can see I'm on Windows, but this is WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, running Ubuntu. So if we ls here, you can see there's humanity, there's Illwinter. If I cd into Illwinter, oh yeah, you can see I'm using Git. Git I recommend to like people who even aren't programmers. Git is so good because we can version control shit here. So eventually, when say story.md is done, I can make a commit, I can tag that commit as like draft 1, then start making edits and see all the edits I've made going forwards. Like anything that's changed between draft 1 and what will ultimately be draft 2, I can see all those changes. And then cycle back through the history and, you know, unstage commits, blah, 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 all this stuff. But yeah, I'm not talking about Git today. That I might do an editing stream after the story's done, of like going through and editing it. But we're not writing the story yet. We're not writing the story until November. Let's just jump in. I'm just also using Doom Emacs now, which is a bit of a nightmare. It's something to learn. I don't recommend this to people. I recommend it to myself because I wanna learn to use it. To open my project, I think I need to space tab. L should be load, load workspace, Illwinter. There we go. So you can see two documents open there already. This is how I left things. If I hit space, open P, yeah, that'll open the sidebar. Nice. And you can see the document structure over there. You can see my blank character document here as well. And on this side, this is the document I will ultimately be writing the story in. Note here, when writing prose, create a new line for every sentence. I saw a video of a guy talking about writing prose. I can't remember if they were using Markdown or if they were using org mode. Emacs has something called org mode, which is really intimidating, and I'm not going to be using that. Might try to learn it eventually, but for now I'm going to stick with Markdown. But yeah, just this idea that like if I go into insert mode, let's say there was a sentence. We'll end that with an exclamation mark because it's such a dramatic sentence. And then there was another. When it comes to editing a document, like editing the story after the fact, having these separate sentences on separate lines, when this compiles to like PDF or whatever, these are going to be a single paragraph. They're going to be stitched together. The way to create a separate paragraph in Markdown is to put two spaces, and then this is a new paragraph, right? So these will be in the same paragraph. They'll be stitched together with a space between them. But having them on separate lines means I can edit either one and very clearly see which sentence was edited. It also lets you read each sentence individually and lets them sort of... each one has to stand by its own merits. The guy I was watching this video from, can't remember who it was, but that was their justification for doing it this way. And I was like, that's such a good idea. That's such, like, that it's genius, actually, to separate your sentences like that, particularly if you're going to be using plain text format like this, particularly if you're going to be using Git, as I do recommend. But that's not what we're doing right now. Let's, if I just hit undo, will that undo everything there? What about undo again? There we go. Nice. Yeah, how do I close this window again? I think it's Q. Yeah, nice. So this is the document we want to be focusing on. This is the template. I think I've already got Sarah Bounds pretty much complete to do generalized for all stories / years. Okay, yeah, so this was written from the perspective of a 1972. Sarah Bound, protagonist. The impact on the story, as she's the protagonist, she has a personal transformation. If she weren't the protagonist, if she was some other character, then the impact would have to be something that relates either to the story, the themes of her story, or to her. They'd have to have some sort of impact on her. Like, are they a mentor? Are they an obstacle? Antagonist. We've got gender female, 17 years old. I think she's 17 or 18 around the time of 1972 when that last story takes place, which places her birth date late August to mid-October 1955. This may be wrong. I just know that that story takes place 31st of October 1972. Ethnicity black, sexuality gay, possession, she has a car, she drives. We've put relationships, love interest, Nikki Walker, brother Reggie Bowen. Reggie Bowen might no longer exist in the story. Potentially. I may be replacing Reggie with a character who's not Sarah's brother, called Matthew. There's a reason for that, but it's a very future reason. Reggie was going to be the photographer character. This was going to be Sarah's brother. He was going to be the photographer character, but like that character doesn't have to be Sarah's brother. I've also described her character arc in the story as positive change. The possible arcs being there could be a positive change, a negative change, positive steadfast or negative steadfast. These are characters who don't have really an arc that changes them over the course of the story. Like, think Captain America. I think Captain America has a flat character arc like that, and his is positive, steadfast. Yeah, the world changes to Captain America's moral system rather than the other way around. He doesn't adapt into the challenges of the world so much because he's like perfect is the idea. It works though because like Captain America Winter Soldier is so well written, great movie. Agenda, so these three sections here, starting with agenda, starting with lie, starting with wants. Oh, and also wound/ghost should be part of one of these. I think it's part of lie and truth in the template document. I think wound, lie, truth, yeah. But I haven't really learned Emacs that well, or Vim. There should be a way to very quickly move this line up. I'm just not sure how to do it. Anyway, these three sections are sort of three different ways of, and I really should only be using one, but I couldn't decide on one to use. They're three different ways of sort of describing the character at the beginning of the story and at the end of the story. Like, they have some personal lie that they believe is the case that's preventing them from achieving the goals that they have in the story. Like, yeah, I'm not good enough. And then the thematic truth of the story is, no, you are good enough. You just got to stop telling yourself that. So for Sarah, we've got agenda. She wants to confess her love to Nikki Walker. I think that's the same. Yeah, she wants a relationship with Nikki. But the conflict is she has this fear of rejection, which should be similar to the lie. She isn't allowed to confess her love. Yeah, she sort of believes that. And the transformation is that she learns if she never tries, she'll never know, finally goes for it. Sort of similar to the lie truth here. She isn't allowed to confess her love, and the truth is the only way to grow a relationship is to be honest about how you feel, how she feels. then for wants and needs, we've got a relationship with Nikki, and to be more confident and open about her feelings. It's basically saying the same thing 3 different times. Like I said, wound/ghost should be up here with lie/truth. The wound/ghost, what am I calling it? What did I decide? Wound. Like, this is something from their own history that causes them to believe the lie. So it could be, you know, that they didn't have parents that were that supportive, so they've not got a lot of confidence, that sort of thing. In Sarah's case, since I have her as gay and black, I thought I couldn't really think of what other wound to give her besides, you know, there's just societal homophobia in the late 60s, early 70s, and racism. And there is an absence of lesbian role models, in fact, because the Hays Code has just been dropped like 5 years ago or something. So there aren't many gay characters on film. Then I've got some strengths, flaws, likes and dislikes for the character. She absolutely needs to have flaws. This is one of the biggest things I've heard. I can't remember what she was called. Might be Abby something. But this author has been talking in videos, and I've been watching these videos about like the character's flaws. She keeps using the word fatal flaw. I've left fatal flaw as null and gone with major flaw instead. This is what prevents them from basically achieving the truth, or getting the needs, or addressing the conflict of the story. The major flaw is something that is the most thematic flaw in the story, but ultimately it's something that they get over, whereas a fatal flaw, the term comes from tragedy, right? The fatal flaw is that flaw which the character fails to get over. So I've made that distinction. Maybe I shouldn't make that distinction. Also describe a few minor flaws. She's nervous, she's nerdy, she's awkward. She likes books, sitcoms, Bewitched, Gidget, Star Trek, and horror movies, and she dislikes crowded social settings. I should maybe have a few more dislikes, but I couldn't think. What else does Sarah not like? So there are some things here like that are very easily changed. Age can be adapted, and we can change her date of birth. Ethnicity, like this was originally, I did describe the characters as shy girl and confident girl, and because I had James Jansen pointing them out in the bar setting, I thought, how's he going to point them out? And I thought, okay, the brunette and the blonde, or the redhead and the blonde, something like that. I thought, well, since we're describing a character, since we're having someone point to another character and attribute a physical description to them, that's a good opportunity to like actually explicitly reference ethnicity, maybe. So she came out as black in this document. She's gay as part of the story. That makes sense. But this is adaptable. This is changeable. I just realized most of the characters in my mind, it being the American Midwest, a small town, most of the characters are just white, at least so far as like the picturing in my mind has been going. So it's good to get more variation in there. Should be more of a description here as well, really. I do in this template have a bio section, which I could maybe add. Relationships. No, where have I put that? Like relative to the rest of the document. After sexuality, but before relationships. So if we did say have a bio here, we could use that to describe her a little bit. Although I don't know how to describe Sarah right now, so let's just write that. In fact, since bio is empty, I will quickly just delete that and yeah, leave the tag in place though. So we're going to do this for other characters. How are we with Nikki? Has Nikki got a full one? Nikki does have a full one. But again, I need to generalize this for all story/years. So Nikki is the deuteragonist of story 3 and the love interest of Sarah. So she should also have a personal transformation, being the deuteragonist. But she's also the source of the main conflict in the story and helps the protagonist realize her own transformation. Female, 17, I think, in my mind, yeah, Nikki is a little bit older than Sarah, which is why she's got a more specific DOB here. If it's September 1955, what's 1955 plus 17? That is 1972, okay. That does not make her senior year though, does it? So maybe the age does need to be adapted, because I was thinking this is their senior year. Ignoring that for now, I have her being ethnicity white. As I said, James Johnson points them out in the bar, and I thought, well, one way to do that is to say, look at those girls over, see the black one and the white one. Something like that. If this is even a way people point people out in a bar. I don't know. But sexuality, she's bi. She hasn't really realized that yet, though. Possession, she's got a homemade witch costume, Samantha from Bewitched opening titles, and some leftover red ribbon. Best friend, Sarah Bowen. Arc, positive change again. But she does have that awakening, she does have that realization. And again, I've got the 3 sections here that really should just be one, but I'm like... because these are just 3 different approaches to saying the same thing. Her agenda, what she wants at the beginning of the story, is to live free and uninhibited. That's like, she likes to have fun. She's the confident girl. But she doesn't really know what she wants. So her transformation is to realize something she never knew she wanted, which is a more attentive, more interested partner, because she's been like dating boys who aren't that like we're talking teen boys here. So we're talking, there's this weird separation of the genders, isn't there? Boys and girls, and just like the weird social roles we fall into when we're all just fucking people. So having a gay partner in the form of Sarah ultimately finds that they actually have a more attentive, more interested partner, like someone who's actually a friend first, which by the way is how relationships kind of should work. You should be friends with your partner, and a lot of people I think don't realize that even late into their adulthood. The lie, the world is hers, she can do whatever she wants. This is a weird thing to say, the world is hers. But this is sort of, yeah, she's confident, she's outgoing, she can put her mind into anything, do anything, go anywhere. She can do whatever she wants, be whoever she wants to be. But again, she doesn't really know what she wants. So you've got to know that in order to go after it. She's unfocused. She wants a carefree, fun and fulfilled life. She needs to figure out what could even make her life feel fulfilled in the first place. So these are very similar. The way I've phrased it in all 3 cases is extremely similar. And her wound in this case is her nuclear family and a cookie cutter working dad and homemaker mom. Yeah, and that's the sort of model of what she doesn't want to become. She wants to go out and see the world in a way that her mom never did, that her dad never did either. We've got some strengths. She's outgoing and confident. Her flaws, she's aimless, being her major flaw that she gets over in the story. Minor flaws are an uninhibited, oblivious, and reckless. She likes sitcoms, Bewitched, horror movies, same as Sarah did. And she dislikes judgment and structure/rigidity. She's more carefree, more outgoing than that. So, we want to do this for a couple more characters. At least, I think. I do have documents here for James Jansen, but it's much more bare bones. And Isaac Winters. But again, it's in Markdown, and I've decided to go with YAML for these. I think. This can all change at some point. But let's Let's rename this one to... No, that is the wrong key. Okay. Get rid of that. Is it capital R? No. Capital R. New name. Okay. James Jansen. I'm just going to call it old. And then we can create a new document for James Jansen. I can't remember what the quick key for duplicating this is though. Copy file. YF. Why is it YF? Okay. Yeah, it's going to sit in the same directory, and it's going to be again Jansen, James. Not sure if I want to organize them by surname like this, but we can do. And there we go, all the details there ready for me to fill in. I'm not sure whether to go James Jansen or Jansen, James. What doing it this way would do is like it would list family members together, which is useful. Also, we could just start prepending them with like numbers for the importance in the story, like Isaac Winter's James Jansen should be like 1, 2, and then we also need to do. In fact, I'm going to do that now. What was it? Actually, I've actually forgotten it. It's Y something. What was it? YF. How does that work then? If I were here and I hit YF. Oh yeah, that does work. Okay. Copy to. We want Elaine Martins, but we also want Scott Lucas. So Lucas. Scott.yaml. And we'll create another one for YF. Martins, Elaine. And go over coming up with a character. At least one character will do. Just so that we can get like the sense for what's going on. Like, despite having done it one way over there, like surname, first name, I'm putting them in this order in this document. James Jansen. That might actually not be his real name. I don't know that much about James Jansen's history, besides that he's an actor. Gender, he is male, DOB. I can't remember, do I have details for this? I've got him aged mid-40s. I can always work out his DOB after the fact. Mid-40s, maybe late 30s to mid-40s. Or early 40s. Yeah, let's do late 30s to mid-40s, because he's an actor, he's like a leading man in Isaac Winter's horror movies, is the idea. Ethnicity. Now, don't necessarily think you need to fill in this detail. In James Jansen's case, the name Jansen is Dutch, so I've got him being like but as I say, it could just be a screen name. We will go white now, white European, being Dutch. Sexuality, James Jansen is gay. Bio, we can fill in more details later. Relationships. Okay, so his partner is Isaac Winters. And like, because they're from out of town, they have no other pre-existing relationships in the story. Possessions. Does have a car. Possessions. Car. Can't remember what the car was. Can we get what the car was? It was a Lincoln Continental Mark III, 1969. I don't actually know how to copy and paste in Emacs, so I've said it's owned by Isaac Winters, but it's probably not. It's probably a gift to James Jansen, so James Jansen owns it, but Isaac Winters has a car phone in the car, installed in the car. Lincoln Continental Mark III, 1969. So okay. Insert Lincoln Continental Mark III, 1969. That's what he drives. Role in the story. Now, is he the protagonist or is he the deuteragonist? Cannot remember. I think I've got him as the POV character, and he's the one who has the most significant change of the two. I think we spend more time in James's POV because he's the one who isn't distracted. Isaac's distracted by the stresses of like the Illwinter project and stuff. So I do think you are the protagonist of the first story. So impact is, I think you have a personal transformation. I think that's the idea. Do you have a positive change, a negative change? This is, okay, here's where it gets tough. Because these are very, I mean, you'll find out when you write the story what happens to your character. Sometimes you just want to do that instead of like come up with the plan for them before the fact. I know that by the end of the story, James and Isaac are no longer together, which is a negative change. They've broken up. However, that's because I think of Isaac's negative change arc and James's positive change arc. It's a more subtle positive change arc, but it is a positive change arc. James's agenda. Interesting. But this has to be an agenda that's the most thematic thing for James in the story. I don't know. Let's get down to like strengths, flaws, etc. Strengths, he's this should be a list. I know he's a confident individual. Confident. He's very well spoken. You know, he's an actor. Well spoken, friendly, and I think approachable. I think he's like very approachable. Flaws, fatal, null. Here's the thing. I think Isaac has a fatal flaw. So I think there is a fatal flaw in one of my stories. The major flaw for yeah. Here's the thing. Stories have rules, but one of the rules of stories is you can break the rules. I'm not so sure that James has a major flaw. Like I was saying, like does Captain America have a major flaw? Not really. But in those stories, Captain America is the protagonist, and treat the world as like the antagonist, and it's the antagonists, the world, that ultimately changes, or the other characters who sort of change to Captain America's outlook. Like in again, let's talk Winter Soldier. In Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Nicholas Fury, commander of S.H.I.E.L.D., director of S.H.I.E.L.D., is like assisting with the development of the, I can't remember what they call the network of these big hover ships, which I've forgotten the fucking name of, I should know this. Weaponized like helicarriers that are going to go and sit up in the sky and be, you know, these just massive weapons of oversight with laser precision weaponry to take out individual targets, which Captain America stands against, and ultimately defeats the baddies, and that system gets shut down. Nicholas Fury does come around to Cap's position. In James Jansen's story, I don't know that James Jansen changes much. Minor flaws. What are his minor flaws? He should certainly have some kinds of flaws. Though again, I don't know what they are. He's an actor. He's I know he drinks, but he's not like an alcoholic. He is a smoker, I do know that. But is that so much a flaw so far as the story is concerned? Look, we know he's a smoker. But he's kind of like, you know, like an old noir character. Like he's like got this casual cool about him. So maybe says he shouldn't be the POV character. What's his flaws? His flaws, like he's trusting in Isaac's vision quite a lot, right? And he's passive, so we will leave Smoker there, but like he's trusting, maybe too much, and he's a bit passive when it comes to challenging Isaac Winters on the ongoing development of the Illwinter project. So maybe that's his major flaw. Maybe the major flaw is that he is passive. And then I'm going to put in parentheses, like, in terms of challenging Winters re the Illwinter project. I don't know about this. Because that's not really his role in the story. Like, he's got nothing to do with the Illwinter project besides being there to, like, basically be a face that people recognize at the groundbreaking event, and then obviously the opening of the park as well. But I think he's passive in doing that, and that's sort of what he needs to get over. Likes. I mean, I know he likes a drink. He likes a whiskey. He likes drinks. He likes a whiskey. Probably like a more top shelf liquor. I have in my mind that they attempt to order a Manhattan at this bar, and the bar's like, "What? No, we don't have that here." I think I mentioned that last stream too. Dislikes? Don't really know. I think we do need to have dislikes for the character because he's going to be the POV, so we need to get in his head and like describe the world as he views it. I've been reading the very first Goosebumps book to my kid recently. We're on what chapter are we on? Chapter 13. I'm hoping to finish it by Halloween, which should be fine. It's only 18 chapters. Yeah. And this story, Goosebumps, Welcome to Dead House, the first one, it takes place from the POV of... I'm describing a children's book because it's most obvious in a children's book. Yeah, in fact, it's first person. It's got a first-person narrator whose name I cannot remember. Amanda, it says on the back of the book. So she's the POV character. And there are obvious things that she doesn't like she's afraid of the dark. There are certain smells that she doesn't like getting really into like what she notices about various things. We're trying to be a bit more, because like it's not a children's book, it's not a children's story, and this character isn't a child, so his dislikes aren't just like, oh, I don't like the smell of blah. I think he dislikes non-communication quite a lot, and Isaac is being non-communicative lately, considerably. So I think that's important. But like so the most important things in this document genuinely are are these bits here: the agenda, conflict, transformation, the wound, lie, truth, or wants and needs. And what? My God, actually, you know what, James Jansen? I don't know that James Jansen actually wants anything in the story. He's just sort of there to to look pretty in front of the cameras, basically. Though I have in mind that they have a conversation, he and Isaac Winters, about like his roles as a leading man in horror movies and whether or not it would be possible to like get like a gay love interest into the stories. You know, the Hays Code ended years ago, rather than be put on screen as with female love interests all the time, who as a gay man he's not really interested in. Obviously, he plays the role in the movies, but so that's something that he does want. But is that the thematic thing in the story that he wants? I don't think so. I think the thematic thing is he wants Isaac to be more communicative. He certainly wants Isaac to be more communicative, more less distracted, more at ease. And he needs... I don't know. I know that they break up and that this is a good thing for James in the long run. However, that's by the end of story 3, not by the end of story 1. So maybe he kind of needs to realize to realize like the effort is not like it's not his duty to pull someone out of a spiral, and I think Isaac is spiraling. It isn't his duty or responsibility to, and I'm going to put the words exert effort here because that's what it's about. Exert effort pulling someone out of a spiral. Right? It isn't his duty or responsibility to exert effort pulling someone out of a spiral. Is different than saying it isn't his duty or responsibility to pull someone out of a spiral. Right? Because it's about like how much emotional effort it takes. Since I'm saying that, why not also say emotional then? Exert the emotional effort, because it's putting a toll on him too. So the lie that he believes is kind of that like Isaac is his best chance at a relationship. The truth is he finds someone else eventually, possibly. I don't know. I don't have that character written. I don't have a character in the third story who James ultimately ends up with. But okay, how does that describe his agenda? Isaac to be more communicative, less distracted, more at ease. Agenda to put Isaac at ease, to calm him, get him to open up. The conflict, though, is that Isaac is reluctant. Isn't necessarily the right word. Resistant isn't the right word. We'll say resistant to opening up. Let's just say. And the transformation is ultimately that that James James sort of realizes that the emotional toll, that the personal emotional toll is not worth the effort, that Isaac might be beyond saving, right? Sort of. I'm not saying this is the right way to handle relationships. I'm saying this is what goes on with James Dunson here. In many cases, it is the right way to go in a relationship because you are not the like the whole thing's like codependency, right? whatever. I'm gonna not fill in wound, lie, truth, I think, because I'm not sure what the lie is that he believes. But again, these 3 sections are just 3 ways of saying the same thing. I think I like this one the most, agenda, conflict, transformation. They get across the same thing, right? To put Isaac at ease, to calm him, get him to open up. The conflict is, like, he hasn't realized, this is sort of the lie as well, right? He hasn't realized that Isaac, no, the lie is that he has to do this, this is his responsibility. The truth is that it's not. And the wound would be worth knowing too, but I don't have that much history for James. The wound or ghost, the character, a past trauma that causes the character to believe the lie. If the lie is that it's his responsibility to do this, then it's probably just like from his own family. I don't think we need to explore that. We'll see. We'll see. This will not be a final document. This will be revisited after the story as well, I think. I think that's good enough for now. Escape. Write that document. And let's move on to... Oh, I didn't do one for Isaac Winters, did I? What was it again? Why something? I've forgotten. YF. Copy file. New file's going to be called Winters Isaac Yama. I don't think we've got one. We do not. Okay. Maybe just do Isaac Winters's and then I'll work on Scott Lucas and Elaine Martin's off stream. So, name. Because Isaac Winters is a kind of very important character. He is in the story that I am writing. He's the guy who founded Illwinter, and the guy whose name is essentially on the park itself. Isaac Winters. Gender, male. Date of birth. I have him slightly older than James Jansen, I think. So, late 30s to mid 40s. We'll say mid 40s plus. Sorry, that is incorrect. Can I do the standard thing of like Control X? No, I can't. God damn it. I've done something now. What have I done? What have I actually done? What did Control X do? Oh my god, okay. I don't know what Control X did. Let me just change that. We're going to say mid 40s plus on the actual age section there. Mid 40s plus. Ethnicity, I had him as white as well. Isaac Winters. But actually, he needn't be. No, I'm going to leave that blank. We do need to sort of settle on that eventually, because we need to know how we're describing the character. But for now, I'm going to leave it blank. I might do some research about the name Winters and where it comes from, and that might inform the decision. Or something else might inform the decision. Also gay, like James Jansen. Bio, I will leave blank. I don't really have a good sense of description of any of these characters yet. What they look like, I don't know. Relationships, again, partner in this case is James Jansen. Possessions, like I said, like when it comes to ethnicity, the only reason that Sarah Bowen's got filled in is because I thought, well, that would be an opportunity to have somebody explicitly described in the story as like non-white. Otherwise, all the characters are just a certain way. want to make sure that we have like decent diversity of characters here. Like, as I think I mentioned in the previous stream, I've got forgotten the name. They were going to be Tomlinson, but then I decided they were going to be something else. But the little hotel, the bed and breakfast owners, one of them's in a wheelchair, and this is also why they don't have the upstairs rooms in use anymore and can like let them out as B&B rooms. So we have a little bit of disabled representation there. I do also have a character who's autistic, but oh wait, no, they are in the story. They are in the story. It's not going to be explicitly mentioned that they're autistic, nor are we necessarily going to try to write them as autistic in any way, because like that's one of the worst things you can do with an autistic character, and it happens all the time. That a character who's explicitly known to be autistic or anywhere on the spectrum in a story, in a film, a book or TV show, like when it's done deliberately it tends to be bad, and when it's done sort of accidentally you get some good characters, like River Tam from Firefly. Not meant to be autistic, I don't think, but like super autistic coded and a fantastic character. Abed Nadir from Community, great character, never explicitly revealed like what his diagnosis is or was. I think there's a joke in one of the episodes, Abed the Undiagnosable or something. It might be when they're playing D&D or something. Abed the Undiagnosable. But yeah, accidental on the spectrum characters tend to be better than actually deliberately written ones, it seems. Anyway, I mean, that's another thing I could probably put in here. Bio. I could put like literally have a different section for like disability or something. And none of these sections, like you can delete these sections and it would be fine without it, but relationships, James Danson, again, they've driven into town, so they don't really know anyone else in the town. You do own a car phone, though. Mobile phones don't yet exist, but you've got a fancy, expensive car phone in James's car. Their role in the story, they're sort of the deuteragonist slash love interest. Love interest? Are you really the love interest? Sort of the deuteragonist slash love interest, also kind of the antagonist of James's story, right? That's spelled incorrectly? Maybe. Let me put a question mark there. Impact on the story. Sort of you're a large obstacle to James's goal. So, obstacle to MC's goal. Yeah. Like I said, I think Isaac's is either a negative change, or within the story it might just be negative steadfast. Like, it might be flat. Isaac might already be statically in that mindset at the beginning of the story. Agenda, it's like smooth opening of the park. Conflict. I mean, the conflict is like large construction projects are expensive and not smooth.
How you took a chance and came on uptown, huh?
Are expensive slash not smooth. Transformation. Again, he might be negative steadfast. He might not have a transformation by the end of the story, but he's, you know, spiraling downwards. I'm gonna leave that blank. Wound is... Ah, no, you do have a wound, don't you? You are sort of like... Yeah, like Winter's He sort of lives in others' shadows, kind of. Can't think of a better way to put that right now. Lives in others' shadows. He's kind of like there's a specific reference to living in the shadow of Hitchcock, which is actually a really good joke, by the way. Look up silhouette of Hitchcock. Lives in others' shadows, but like when they pick up a newspaper in the story, I think I put that in the outline last time. In fact, yeah, let's actually bring that up. Wait, if I split the window, like, nope. One sec. Split window. And then in that other window, let's bring up, what was I going to bring up? Project file. Outline. Which I've changed, by the way. It's now marked down. I can actually tick these off when they're done like that. Super useful. They pick up a newspaper somewhere, right? If I find in here newspaper, yeah, parking outside dive bar, picking up the newspaper. Stars in town specifically highlights James visiting town, not Isaac. And that's like a sore point for Isaac. This is why that's like his wound is like not being recognized, not. How do I close the window again? Space window. K for kill or Q? No, it's Q for quit. There we go. So lives in other shadows. Yeah, I don't know that that's enough for a wound. Like, why does he so badly want recognition? Is the question. The lie that he believes is that that sort of that this park will put his name on the map. The truth is that this was a massive overreach. Really, this was an unaffordable overreach. And requires the collaboration of others whose names might be well, they're not. I'm going to leave that blank. I'm not going to do that. There's this idea that like he has to take on a lot of funding from a shady company called Sigil Corp. They fund a big part of the project, but as things go wrong with the development of the park, such as uncovering a body there, he has to sell more and more of his stake to them in order to just keep going. And so ultimately they become the owners and like the primary owners of Illwinter Corp and the Illwinter Park, and Winters is just a name on the gate at that point. He's the owner in name only. So the transformation, so maybe it is an arc, maybe it is negative change. I did say it might be negative change. Transformation, I did move on from that, but the transformation is like by the end of the story he's on a spiral. He gets to this point where again I'll leave that blank because I can't think how to phrase what's on my mind there. Wants name recognition. Needs, and this I'm realizing just now, is more relevant for a character who has a positive change, a positive arc. I suppose, you can have someone who wants and needs but doesn't actually realize the need, and you can get that need thematically across. So what does Isaac need? Isaac needs I don't know. Like, he needs to recognize Name recognition is a hollow. God, what's the word? This is going to be such a big problem for me when I actually am writing. Is like, what's the word? I'm not thinking victory. It's a hollow pursuit, right? Hollow pursuit. Strengths. He's kind of a visionary, I guess. Visionary, creative. Visionary, creative, very passionate about what he does. Fatal, in this case, yeah, he does have a fatal flaw. His fatal flaw is, it's like vainglory, isn't it? It's like that's what it's like vainglory, the pursuit of recognition. That's kind of like what he's after, and in this case, it is fatal, which means we can leave major as null. Might combine these, like, does it make sense to do this? Don't know. Minor flaws. Have you got any? Minor flaws. He's not a smoker, like James Jansen. In fact, James Jansen smoking is one of the things that I came up with, like, to separate them at one point in the story so that James can be confronted. So minor flaws. I think he might be more of a drinker than James is. But I don't think it's a thematically relevant flaw. What other flaws might you have? Minor ones, minor flaws. You definitely, like, yeah, you are, like, hyper-focused, got, like, blinders on for this whole thing. Hyper-focused, inattentive as a result of that. Inattentive. Hyper-focused, inattentive, and maybe that's it for now. Leave that there. I can always add to this document later. Likes, and I mean, I know you like horror movies. You make horror movies. Likes horror movies, likes classic cars, even though you don't drive, maybe. Likes, I mean, you also like classic movies that are non-horror. Being a filmmaker. Just gonna leave it at that for now. Probably add more later. Dislikes. What do you actually dislike? I know you dislike a cheap drink. You certainly dislike cheap wine. It may not come up in the story, but I think Isaac Winters is the reason they attempt to order a Manhattan at the bar, like a cocktail that the bar just does not do. Oh, you know what? I don't know many more of your dislikes, but I did come up with another one for James. Because James does very much dislike the Sigil Corp guys. Not a big fan of them. So write that. There we go. Okay. So I've done 2 of these. Like I said, I probably won't do... What did we do? We did Isaac Winters and we did James Jansen, right? Prolific director and executive producer of horror movies, he owns the company Winter Scream. Despite the successes of his company, Winters still feels as though he lives in the shadow of the horror directors who came before him, namely Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, just like I said. That's like basically exactly what I said. I'm going to date of birth between 1922 and 1925. I have in late 40s. Yeah, I've put mid 40s plus in the other one. Partner James Jansen, question mark, question mark. No idea what that means. Why did I add question mark there? Don't know. I think it's because I wasn't sure of the name James Jensen yet, but I've settled on it now. Film director, executive producer, yeah, that's all fine. Actually, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Winter's Isaac. There's so much more that can go in here. Like... occupation? We start with a capital letter. Occupation, film producer. Yeah. And let me just leave that for now. That should really go in my other document, my template document. I should add occupation in here somewhere. Might just add a to-do list somewhere, you know? Maybe at the top. Insert, and then comment to-do. I do like how that's highlighted like that. We will add ... occupation. Like in the case of Sarah Bowens and Nikki Walker, that's going to be they're just students or school pupils. I just heard fireworks outside. But in the case of most of the characters, they'll have some kind of occupation. Don't know what else I would add at the moment, so let's just leave it like that. Write that document. And yeah, leave it there for characters for now. Like, I do need to still do at least Scott Lucas, because he's a POV character as well. Probably Elaine Martins, because that's his partner on the case. So they're both working together on that case. Okay. How happy am I with all of that? Quite happy. Let's leave that there for now then. And do what? Do what? I am going to... Because like this is Doom Emacs I'm using here, and I am just getting used to it at this point in time. I want to actually open up. I do want to open up the story again. Yeah, we'll open that there. How I think I want to be writing the story eventually is with a vertical split like that, and with project file outline on this side and then story on this side, and we can close the sidebar again like that. I could be writing over here, and as I go, checking items off over here as it gets done. And that's the plan for November, is kind of that view. We can also, rather than that view, go window back to this side, window quit, and how do I do this again? Toggle Zen mode? Give like a nice big Zen mode like that. And I might spend a part of my time doing that. Space W, Z to exit. No. Oh no, space toggle Z, yeah. To get back out of there. Space OP to bring that back up, and space WL to get back into the document, space WV to vertical split, and space project file outline.md to bring that back up, space OP to close that, and there we go. Once you learn it all, it's very fast, but like I said, I wouldn't recommend it because it's just such a pain if you're not a programmer to get into all of this. But if you want to spend hours trying to learn it, it is worth it in the end. I can do a bunch more in terms of like, yeah, look at this, is confronted. If I hover over that, it says at the bottom, switch to active voice. This is passive voice. James Jensen is confronted. So like, what you'd want to say there, rather than Jensen is confronted outside by the mysterious figure, is insert the mysterious figure confronts Jansen. Maybe leave outside in place, right? There we go. And now that's resolved. Yellow means apparently that the word is correct at that point. Red is just saying you've got duplicate words detected here, but like leave what's buried buried is a fine phrase, really. I think I don't have word count when it comes to it. I do want to go back to Jansen is confronted outside by the mysterious figure. That passive voice is fine there because it's just a to-do document. It will be written differently in the story itself. I forget how do you do word count in here. I think I can hit what's called the meta key and is written everywhere as M-X. It's actually Alt-X. It's just that the documentation for Emacs is so fucking old, it used to be called the meta key. How do I get word count? Count words region. Count words from start to end. What? I don't think you gave me a word count there, did you? G, Control G to do it. Okay. G, Control G. Buffer has 35 lines, 66 words, and 495 characters. 66 words. It obviously doesn't have 66 words, but I think it's counting these as well. Just because it can't differentiate. It's differentiating by space. Anything that's space limited is going to be another word, I think. But that's fine. Once you get to like 5,000 words onwards, like there's going to be so few of these that it's not really going to matter. You're going to have a roughly accurate word count. There was something else that was really cool that I discovered. Like, yeah, the passive voice was really good. Having that grammar check. What else have I got? I don't know, there's some other kind of like analysis it could do for me. We'll just ask. We'll ask the question, like, what have I done recently? Write good reading. Oh, yeah, that was it. The Flesh Kincaid Reading Ease Test gives it a score of 73.77, fairly easy, 7th grade. If we go over to this document and run the same thing, we get a 55.48, fairly difficult, 10 to 12th grade. Like, being able to tell, like, what the reading age of the document is estimated to be based on that, so good. I'm reading the bottom of the screen, by the way, if you want to watch this bar at the very bottom as a Alt-X and activate the Write Good Reading Ease test again. Brings up the message at the bottom. Flesh Kincaid Reading Ease score 55.48, fairly difficult, 10 to 12th grade. That's going to be so good for like analyzing the story after the fact, being like, am I like hitting the age, the reading age that I want to for this book? Be especially useful for writing fiction for a specific target demo, like a children's book or a YA fiction book or something else. But you know what? Okay, we will leave it there. We'll in fact we'll quit. Yeah, we'll quit. Yeah, we'll save whatever files I've changed. Yeah, all of them. Yeah, do that. And quit Doom. And quickly go over to GIMP, where maybe we'll draw a map. Maybe. It's like I said, I've got a map in my mind. I don't really need it because I'm just describing them driving from the dig site to the bed and breakfast, from the bed and breakfast to the bar, and from the bar back to the bed and breakfast, then leave town the next morning is the idea. I don't necessarily need to know everything about that world, how it works, and what it looks like and stuff. Let's start with like a deep green for the baseline, but maybe like in a lightish color. Always change that. And just fill that. Deep green, and then we want to get like a blue because I want to add the water. Where on here do I want to go? Like a little bit deeper, about there. Maybe start drawing it in pencil. I have in mind there's like a lake. Maybe the lake is up here like this. Doesn't really matter what the shape of the lake is. Let's just fill that like that. And then it should have a river running off of it. Maybe... Where would a river come out of a lake like that? Okay, no, let's think about where Illwinter would be, where... Oh, that's right, I've done this wrong already. Okay, never mind then. Okay, let's go back to Pivot Tool, grab that color, and fill that back in. Because yeah, I'm thinking Illwinter on the north side, and yeah, so I need a bit more room there. I need like start here. There's gonna be like the tip of the lake, and then like the lake's gonna widen up here like that maybe, and I've got like that going on. Then we can fill that with that color. Nope, I've obviously left a gap there. Control Z. Where's the gap in that then? Very annoying, actually, that I don't know where the gap is. Control Z. Right, it's got to be there. Got to be just about here. So let me try to make sure that we get a little scribble around that point to connect it. Like the map doesn't matter here, but I've got it in mind that I'm gonna have I'm gonna go for like a purple-y gray and increase the size of the brush here. I'm gonna put like the amusement park like here. Was the idea. You can see the lights from the place. It's going to have a shape like that. And this is not the amusement park map. This is just a bit of doodling. Okay, maybe juts out on this side. Maybe has a bit more going like this. It's not what it's going to look like, but there's that, the amusement park. Can maybe do with like having more contrast there. So let's go darker and refill that. That would be Illwinter Amusement Park. The town itself I'll do in like a deeper grey. No, I won't do that immediately. I'll go back to blue. So I want the river. I want a river to run out like this way. Who knows where it goes to, doesn't really matter. And we're going to have, I was thinking, at least this is how the layout works in my own mind. We'll go for grey for the town, or maybe like a more autumnal kind of like brown. I was thinking the town would exist around here, and it might have a bit of structure like very close to the river. Like it might jut out this side. This might be the main body of the town. It's probably a bit more square than this, a bit more like that. It might have like little dots of like further locations. Maybe it goes out a bit further. I don't know. I think there's definitely like a mill down here, an old mill, sawmill. That would be the result. That would be used by the logging industry. So let's get a nice deep green. There should be forests in like this area, probably surrounding Illwinter, right? Mostly around Illwinter there's going to be forests. There's going to be plenty of forests. Whole area, really. I think you have to drive through the forest. I think you can see the lights from Illwinter through the forest. So bad. It's maybe a bit of like the start of some mountains going on up here, right? Rocky mountain kind of shit going on. I think we need to go back to that first color. Grab Pipette. Get that one. And erase some of this. Like, you should have very clear view as you approach Illwinter. It's probably from this side, so just make a hole here. The idea being that like this forest has been cut down in the past, and we're gonna. I'm so bad at art. This is terrible. So maybe the forest starts back up again in there. We have a bit more forest, like going into the mountains here, and it just, it's all over the mountains. Bound to be more forest here. It's like there's plenty of forest. I know that the part of Illwinter itself has there's probably more forest along the shoreline on this side too, and then who knows what goes on over here. There could be, in order to get like kind of beach horror. Although you wouldn't get sharks in lakes. Like the largest creature you would get in a lake would be much shorter than a shark. You might actually have some sandy shoreline though. Like you might start to get that going on there as you get a bit further up. Get to like some beach stuff and actually like activities you can do. There maybe is a local beach. I don't know. It's maybe too small for the town. Let me just fill in some roads because I think. In my mind, I have a bridge over here. Maybe that's too close to that. I don't know. Maybe the bridge should be like here, going that way, kind of. And the road should continue around the forest and then like through there to get to Illwinter. But actually, this road would continue down to the old mill and out further that way, and obviously into Illwinter itself, where you'd have a different structure of roads. Continues out this way and beyond there. Probably continues through that forest and then out this way. And maybe continues up the shoreline towards some other small town this way. Right? So that's a kind of a map. Kind of what I was picturing in my head. That is terrible. Let's save it. Let's save it and say that we're happy with it. In fact, we won't. Okay, so my story mostly takes place here in this brown blob called Illfell, and this would be Illwinter, the theme park, which is under construction at this point in the story. I don't think I need this image, I think this helps me. I just think I know that like it's to the north. I think what I need more than anything is to like work out which direction the sun rises in and sets in. And in my, obviously this is east and this is west, so sun would rise over here and set over here. And having this orientation means that neither location is in the shadow of the other. Although, look at that, when the sun sets, Illwinter would be in the shadow of the mountains. Was I thinking that? I don't know, I was thinking maybe the mountain should be a bit more like up to the north maybe, to avoid that situation. Also, that's the sand color I've used there, not the mountain color, but that's fine. Avoid that situation, just have mountains bounding it to the north. And have it be a bit more open over this side. Let's like get rid of that. Just scribble that out for now. And maybe do a more detailed map at some point and like come up with something a bit better than what I've done here. But allow you to be able to see sunsets from Illwinter. Of course you could do anyway, you could see it setting over the mountains. I think this is going to come out in the prose a bit more than it is with me drawing it here. I think think that's going to be the case. So we'll ignore this stupid map for now. And we'll call it quits there. I do need to go back over to the screen then and just call it there. So that was a character development stream more than anything else. That was me working on a couple of characters. We did review some of the documents that I'd already done for Sarah and Nikki, the two characters in Story 3. Then we did character profiles for Isaac Winters and James Jansen in the other order. We did James Jansen first, then Isaac Winters. Biggest missing details for me at this point, I think, are just like how I'm describing the characters, like their physical attributes. Because they're going to, even though we're in a certain character's POV, we have to notice the characters, the other characters, and give enough of a description of them to sell the vision of them in the story, you know? I don't know what I'm talking about, that sounded like bullshit. I still need to do a profile for Elaine Martins and Scott Lucas, which I'll do off stream. But I think that's it. I think like once those are done, once I've got like character profiles done, like the story's already there, the characters are pretty much already there. I maybe need to like refine them a little bit on my own time. But I think I'm ready to start. I don't think we do another stream on this project, at least, until after the story is written, after the first draft is written, and then I think I'm going to do an editing stream. Hopefully figure out how to use Doom Emacs to help with editing. It's a very powerful piece of software. Like, you've seen me use on previous streams. If I just if I tab back over to here, open this back up, you've seen me use VS Code. Just takes slightly longer to boot up, but in a second, there it is. There's VS Code finally. Didn't realize how slow that was. Yeah, let's go to the character profiles. We did Isaac Winters today for one. So yeah, VS Code is kind of the same. It's got the same thing going on. We can also split this into split panes like that and open up another document. Just like that. Although in this case we've actually, yeah. A little bit confusing, we can get rid of that, and that goes back to that. But this is a GUI, this is all graphical user interface. Whereas on Emacs it's a bit different. On Emacs it's a bit more complicated. The benefit of Doom Emacs, well, not just Doom Emacs, but Emacs in general, is project load. Project load is undefined. Tab workspace load, Illwinter. It's just how extensible it is. Like if we do press the meta key, Alt plus X, we've got so many options for things that we can do, like stop anywhere. What's a Geiler? Run Geiler on program file in buffer. No idea what that means. M4 mode, a major mode to edit M4 macro files. No idea what an M4 macro file is, but you know, a lot of this is either built in or it comes with Doom Emacs. Evil edit, evil copy. Evil mode is making Emacs behave more like Vim, which is wonderful because I already know Vim a little bit. I've never really got into using it, but I specifically started playing Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead in order to learn Vim key bindings. So finally using those here. There's so many like mode calculator, run the Emacs calculator, browse web fetch URL and render the page in Emacs. Some people like use Emacs to read their email. Some people use it for chat, like IRC. But yeah, you can see this is a massive list of like executable scripts. And I haven't installed most of these. I installed a couple of things. Like I think one of the like this I had to install separately. The thing that's telling me like switch this to active voice, that grammar tool had to be specifically installed. But that's the benefit, even though it's more complicated to use. It has all of these modes, and you can configure your own modes fairly easily to I could maybe like have a writing mode and an editing mode that's slightly different. But like I'm still figuring it out, so I'm still slower with this for now. Like I can't remember how to quit. Yes, done. Whereas over on VS Code, I would just hit this X. That's it. Okay. That's gonna be it. We did characters. Quite happy with where they're at and where the story is. Just need to start it now, which will be done in about 15 days, November 1st. I'm just excited to start writing. Thanks for watching this if you did on YouTube, and bye for now. Ta-ra.